Congratulations, seniors, class of 2021. You made it. You made it through the toughest year in the history of Cardinal Spellman High School. If you can do this, you can do anything. The future is yours. Congratulations and go Pilots.
Congratulations, class of 2021. You did it. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments throughout your 4 years here at Cardinal Spellman High School. Always remember, go Pilots.
Hey, class of 2021. We just finished putting up your lawn signs, our graduation garden here at Spellman. We are so incredibly proud of you, and this has been a labor of love to show our appreciation for you and how much we're going to miss you when you're gone. Take care. Good luck.
Hey, class of 2021, congratulations. We're so proud of you and your accomplishments this year, and don't forget about us. And as always, go Pilots.
Seniors, congratulations. This is a time that you've been waiting for. This has been a year unlike many others. You've made it. Congratulations. Keep pushing, guys.
Good morning, Spellman. It's Monday, May 3rd, 2021, Day 7, Courts A and D.
On today's show, Mr. Erway of the Language Department gives us some advice on watching our mental wellness. In particular, those of us who remain at home as remote students during this time.
Stephanie Brown has your pilot sports.
And Candyce Little has your weekday forecast. I'm Carla Joseph.
And I'm Kennedy Jones. We're your pilots, and this is your morning flight.
Hey, Spellmanites, get ready to take flight.
A quick reminder that auditions to be considered to be a part of next year's morning flight crew are due this Friday, May 7th. Details are on your Chromebook.
This past weekend, the incoming class of 2025 visited Spellman to take their placement exams. The annual exam determines where in the class a student will be placed. Because of the continuing COVID restrictions, this year's exam took place in 2 sessions. Good luck to the incoming class.
Recently, 2 members of the CS1 team sat down with Mr. Erway of the Language Department to discuss wellness and how to maintain it during the pandemic. Let's take a look.
Over the past year, our students had to face the challenges of attending school remotely due to the coronavirus. Through the inability to attend school in person, students were left without their normal everyday structure and had to manage home, school, and social life all in one place. The topic of self-care addresses the importance of truly checking in with oneself and the necessity of meeting one's personal needs. In the midst of this global pandemic, it is especially important while we face so many changes and hardships. Social distancing to remain physically safe has left many feeling alone and disconnected, particularly our students. Today's discussion reminds us that when we meet our needs mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, we feel better and have a better hold on managing difficult situations. Good afternoon, my name is Mr. Erway. I'm a Spanish teacher here at Cardinal Spellman. Today we are going to talk about personal wellness.
Hello, I'm Juliana, and I am a junior here at Cardinal Spellman, and I'm here to talk with Mr. Erway about personal wellness.
And I'm Stephanie. I'm a junior, and I'm here with Mr. Erway as well to talk about wellness.
Hi guys. So I'd like to start off our conversation today, and I just want to know your thoughts on how the past full year has been in the pandemic. A lot has been thrown at you guys as students. So how you feel about last year, this year? How are you feeling now? Jules, do you want to start, or Stephanie? Right. Either or.
I felt stressed and like cabin fever, like staying in at the whole time and not being able to see my friends as much, and just lost a lot of personal connections and friendships along the way.
Do you feel like that feeling went into other ways that you were feeling, about school and personal and sports or activities?
Yeah, Studio One, I used to be so involved with this, and the past year I have not been as involved. I've only shown up to a few meetings, and haven't been as involved as I was last year.
Stephanie, how are you feeling?
So starting last year in March when we had first left, it was almost like we didn't really take it seriously. To us, that Friday when we left, it was that we were going to come back in 2 weeks and everything would come back to normal. And then 2 weeks became 4 weeks, and then it became another month. And soon enough, it was June and we were still at home. By that time, spring sports were canceled, so I didn't have my lacrosse season my sophomore year. So that was really tough, and it was also really shocking because I never thought anything like that could happen, and it did. And coming into junior year, it's really tough being at home and not being in school with your teachers and just being in a school like Spelman where a big part of it is the atmosphere and having so many people around, having everything going on between sports and clubs and school, and you miss a lot of that with the pandemic.
I hear you guys, the disappointment that you've gone through, and which is why this conversation today is all the more important. I think that you guys were thrown so many different loops, and I'm not sure that we all knew that you had the skills to be able to deal with so much that was being thrown at you. So today I want to talk about honing in more on those skills so that we can better take care of ourselves for however long this is going to last, and taking care of ourselves beyond this. So we're going to talk about personal wellness. Okay, so to start off, what I want to do is a breathing activity, right? So I want to make sure both of your feet are on the floor, and then put your hands on the sides of the whatever this is.
The chair?
Yeah, the chair. Can you tell I'm nervous? And I want you guys to stand up straight, and we're going to do 5 seconds of inhaling and then 3 seconds of exhaling. So I'll count it off. I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then I'll count to 5, and then I'll count to 3. So I just want you to close your eyes or do whatever you feel comfortable with, and just kind of think of your breathing, think of your present moment, okay? So we'll start in 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. One more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that you might not feel 100% calm because we're on camera and we're doing a presentation right now, but that's a skill that we can do to return us to the present moment. Okay, when our mind is racing. So I want to check in with you guys. How are you doing right now at this present moment?
I'm doing good. Since everything has happened, I've learned to manage, and now it seems a bit normal to me now, like my everyday routine. So it's getting easier, but it's still not the same.
Gotcha. How about you, Jules?
Yeah. To add on what Stephanie said, I created like routine. Like I've set alarms for like going to each class, because I've like to remember like between my period and like the class periods that like I get up and walk. So I'm just like, I need to stay focused on school and like on my classes.
Okay, great. So so you're identifying some things that you're feeling, but you guys don't feel all the way there yet, or
No.
right? Okay. So with this image that you guys see here, this Venn diagram, we have physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. What do you notice about this image?
The spiritual wellness is at the center of everything.
Okay. Jules, do you notice anything?
That all the different like our health, all the different like ways of wellness are like together, and they all involve each other.
Excellent. Right. Yes. And spiritual is at the middle too. So everybody has their own interpretation of how they see this. But it is a Venn diagram. I think that's the most important part, that all these different facets of wellness go together, right? We can't have good mental health if we don't have good physical health, and we can't have good physical health if we don't have good spiritual health, right? They all kind of work together, right? So do any of those facets mean anything to you? Do they pop up at you when somebody says mental health, when somebody says spiritual health, when somebody says physical? Stephanie?
So physical health stands out to me because I lost my lacrosse season my sophomore year, and then coming into junior year, I didn't have my fall season or my winter season. So it was up to me to find a way to keep myself active. And I did that through different ways, where even during my lunch period, I would go on walks. Or during the summer, I would go out for a run every morning. And those are ways that I kept myself active when I didn't have my sports.
And I have a question for you. The fact that you weren't able to do your sports, do you think that it went into any other facet of these different areas of health that we're talking about?
I have to say that, sports were a big part of what I do. So I was really sad when lacrosse was canceled, because that was going to be a big season for us as a team. We had a really good team that year, and we were all really excited to play. And we had a full season. All of our teams were back. So it was definitely really sad when we got canceled, because we were so excited for it.
Right. So you identified like an area where you're not able to do something physically that you enjoy and you like, where it flowed into like a mental health portion, right? What about you, Jules?
Mental health sticks out to me because I have ADD and I have trouble focusing on everything, and so it's like hard to focus when my computer's there in front of me, where I can open other tabs and focus on that, or like there's games running in the background. I have to make sure to focus on my classes, listen to my teacher, understand what the teacher's saying, without my brain going to like 5 million different directions in 1 second.
Right. So the discipline where school usually provides us to take like all those different things like away from us and puts us just in the classroom, it's really hard for us to take those away and then just focus on school. I mean, I know that even as an adult, like sometimes you want to focus on a bunch of different things all at the same time, and it just winds up that you're not focused on anything, right? So I want to talk about thoughts versus emotions for a little bit, right? So Stephanie, you had said that you felt sad about not being able to do some sports, right?
Yeah.
So would you identify that as a thought or an emotion?
I would identify it as both in a way, because there was the fact that I was sad just because I wouldn't see my teammates, I wouldn't be able to play. And then there was also a physical, like an emotional part of it, where I was tired for the first few days of quarantine when I was at home. I wasn't really motivated to do certain things and to start school online, and those were things that affected me because of that.
Right. So when we're talking about thoughts versus emotions, right? Jules, if I were to ask you, I like if somebody said to you, I like the shirt, do you think that that's an emotion or a thought?
A thought.
Why?
Because it's not really an emotion, like you don't feel anything about it. You like the shirt, but you don't like feel sad, happy, or mad about the shirt.
Right. Stephanie, if I were to say the movie makes me feel upset, would I be identifying a thought or an emotion there?
An emotion, because you're describing how something makes you feel.
Right. So why would you guys, and this is totally your opinion, why would you think that it's important for us to determine what the difference is between a thought versus an emotion?
I think it's like good to identify it, because like sometimes if you like hold yourself back on what you're thinking or like what you feel, you can bottle things up. Like if someone says something that upsets you and you think that you don't like it, but you don't say it out loud, you don't express that you don't like it, that you feel upset about what they said, it could just turn negative.
Right, like you're holding it in.
Yeah.
Right, I totally agree with you. What about you, Stephanie?
Going off of what Jules said, thoughts are constructed. So you can think one thing and you can make yourself think different things, but your emotions, you can't really manipulate them too much as you can with thoughts. So like if you feel something, if you're sad, you're going to feel it.
Right.
Even though you might not think it.
I totally agree with you, yes. And I think that that's what a lot of times we in quarantine, I don't know about you guys, but I can imagine like a test, right? A test might make us feel like if we couldn't learn the information how we wanted to, a test could make us feel like bad versus did we think it was hard, right? Like those types of things, we always have to challenge like thoughts versus emotions, right? So I asked you guys how you were feeling like towards the beginning, and I kind of want to, since we've been talking a little bit more, I want to revisit the question, right? So how are you at this moment? What are your feelings? This is all like has to do more about a thought versus an emotion, right? We want to think about how we're actually feeling, deeply checking in with ourselves, right? So, and you don't have to answer it now, but it's something that's really important for you to do for yourself. So, what are some ways that you could challenge thoughts versus emotions and to ask yourself how you're truly doing? Do you guys have any ideas on that?
I think like challenging the thoughts versus the emotions, like I hear people do like daily aspirations, like they tell themselves, I'm gonna do good today, I'm gonna be happy today, so you make sure like you remind yourself that that's what you want to feel, that's what you want to think about the day or about yourself at that moment.
Right, those affirmations are helpful to us because they remind us where we want what we want to where we want to get to, right? Stephanie?
One way you can do that is maybe talking to someone that you trust, and that person can help you organize your thoughts and organize your feelings and really get to the bottom of what's going on.
Absolutely, right? When we check in with others, we can also check in with ourselves, right? So we kind of have that trust with someone else, and then we can, to build that check-in with ourselves. So that's awesome. So, I was thinking about how you guys might be experiencing quarantine, especially learning from quarantine, how difficult it would be. So I kind of looked at all the different facets of wellness, and I kind of made a checklist with all of them. So I'm going to read some of these off the checklist, and I want to hear your thoughts on them. So when it comes to physical wellness, right? Some questions that when I was imagining myself as a student, if I would have to go through quarantine, learning through quarantine, I asked myself, am I getting enough sleep after I finish school? Am I taking enough breaks throughout the day to take in the information that I'm learning? Is my computer on a flat surface where the teacher and I can both see each other? Am I eating foods that will help my brain? Am I moving my body enough to be tired when I am ready to sleep at night? Do these questions on this checklist, does this bring up anything for you guys? What types of things does it bring up?
So I was always known in the past for going to bed really early, and I was the person that you could not reach after 10 p.m. because I would be sleeping because I know I have a full day the next day and I need to get enough sleep so that I can get up and stay. I normally stay at school up until 7, 8 o'clock some days. So I was always very careful to go to bed on time, and that's something that I've lost during the pandemic. I go to bed a lot later, sometimes at midnight, sometimes later than that.
It's hard.
So it's definitely hard. I stay up later doing homework. And then knowing the next morning that I might not have to wake up so early because I don't have to go into school, then I also doesn't motivate me to try to get enough sleep.
No, I totally hear you because when you don't have to do those normal functions, it spins us out of our own normal, right? So I totally hear exactly what you're saying. Jules?
Like, on my opinion on this is like for the sleep one is because back in like full school, I would like fall asleep maybe 11 midnight. Now I get only like 2 to 3 hours of sleep each night because of school and finishing my work or waking up early so I can make sure to hand in my work in time because I lose motivation to do it unless it's like an hour before the due date.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And when you don't get to leave where you're at a lot, it makes it that much harder. I remember I was even struggling with the physical wellness like last year because I felt like I wasn't leaving my house at all. So my back was starting to hurt. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even 30 yet and my back is hurting, right? So then I started taking walks.
Too.
Yeah.
I started taking walks, and that made my back feel better, and that made me more tired when I when I wanted to sleep at night. So it's when we think of physical wellness, sometimes I think people think that you got to run 5 miles and then hit the weights, and that's not the case, right? It's kind of doing something physical that you like to do and that makes you tired, makes you want to rest, and then start your next day. So I came up with a few for mental wellness, right? So am I dressed, showered, and ready for school? And am I open to the information even if it is difficult with mental wellness? Does anything come up for you guys with mental wellness?
For the first one, yeah, like sometimes I go to class and just like my school top and like pajama pants, and I'm not like what I would wear here, like a skirt and my knee-high socks and my shoes. It's like I'm not ready for the day. I just like wake up and like turn in my attendance and head to class at 8:40, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you. And how do you think that affects like how you're thinking or ready to receive the information?
Like in the morning, if I wake up at like 5 minutes before class starts, my brain's not ready for the information. My brain's still like sleeping, still thinking about what I dreamt last night or something.
Gotcha.
And what I like did the next day, but it's not like I can't like stay focused. Like my brain will wander to other subjects.
Yeah. Stephanie?
I have to say, the same thing. I would wake up at 8 o'clock, and then I would just wait until 8:25 to get on the computer. And at that time, I've only been up for a half hour, and I'm not really ready to, learn and to take in information. So
yeah, I want to thank you guys for being like honest about this, because I know that there's a lot of your peers that can relate to this. Adults also struggle with these types of things. So I think you guys were given too much. We, as a society, or however we want to look at it, a lot was expected of you, right? And I think I'm very impressed by a lot of what you guys have been able to do, and especially that you're able to share this and be brave about that, because a lot of people are also going through it. Okay, spiritual wellness. Do I have faith that no matter how hard this situation is, I will survive and thrive? Am I hopeful in what opportunities will come next? How does this make you guys feel? What are your thoughts on these questions?
Yeah. So I do have a lot of hope for the future. And what motivates me in that is that we started, last year, we were completely remote. We didn't even have Google Meets at that time. So it was just teachers assigning work, and then we were working throughout the day. So we didn't really talk to our teachers at all. And we barely talked to each other, really, because we didn't see each other face to face. And then this year, we were able to come in. If you chose to be hybrid, you can come in 1 or 2 days a week. And then now we've combined the cohorts, so it's every other day. So there's little steps that we've been taking. And now we have sports back for the spring. So the fall sports gets to play, the spring sports get to play. So there's little things that have been happening that have slowly been bringing us back to where we used to be. And I do think that gives me a lot of hope for getting back to normal.
You get to see the progress, and then it makes you hopeful for the future. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Jules?
Yeah, for last year, I wasn't sure if I would pass school because I would procrastinate all the time and do everything last minute, the day before if it's a big project, a day of if it's a big project, or an hour before if it was homework. There was one time that in the middle of the night I'm doing my homework and I just cried.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish all my work in time, and yeah.
Right. So it's it's hard to find the hope in the next whatever next thing that we're going to see.
I can really relate to that. because there's a lot of, even amongst me and my friends, there's a lot of us working to get things done instead of working to like learn about what we're doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time procrastinating and saving things for the last minute. And then when we do them, it's really just to get things done and get things turned in.
Right.
And now being back, that's changed. We've kind of gone back to doing things the regular way, but it's still not very easy. And then also a big thing with, I've discussed this with my friends, we talk about this all the time, is burnout. You know, there's times where we don't have the motivation anymore to keep going, to keep doing the schoolwork. And we always encourage each other to take breaks, you know, to take days off, just to
that's great
get back together.
that you guys have that you're developing that closeness, that you guys are encouraging each other to continue and to keep moving and to keep the faith, right? And to keep the hope that we will make it out of this. But I'm happy to hear that your experiences, and I'm also happy to hear that you can see how far we've made it, and then also have the hope that we're going to even make it further. Okay, so this is the last one. So this is emotional wellness. So can I recognize what emotions I am feeling right now? So like when we were talking about the thoughts versus emotions, do I have the courage to reach out to my support system, friends who want the best for me, teachers, counselors, and coaches? Am I being honest and checking in with myself to identify how I am truly feeling? What does this bring up for you guys?
Sometimes, like my friends, we would ask each other what, like, how we're doing and stuff, and I never knew the words to say it. Like I would say, I'm just fine, I'm okay. Like for example, today, me and my friends were like, she asked me how I was doing, she asked me how my family was doing. I asked her the same, but I didn't know what words to put for my emotions, so I just put, I'm okay. I don't know, like.
Right, and how many of us do that all the time? How you doing? Good. How you doing? Fine, right? So it's kind of like slowing down and then thinking, well, how am I actually doing, right? And then it's also having the trust to know that whoever you're going to give that piece of information to, how you're actually feeling, will they receive it? Will they be able to understand, right? What about you, Stephanie?
It's something similar. I have a group chat with quite a few of my friends. There's about 12 of us. And we've used that group chat for a really long time to stay connected with each other, because we come in on different days and we don't have the same classes with each other, so we don't see each other like we used to. And there's times where someone might say, hey, I'm not feeling well, or I had a bad day, can I talk about it? And then we all text and we're like, yeah, you can talk about it, we're here to listen. And we listen and we try to help each other. And that's kind of what we've been doing. And it's a really safe space that we've created there to talk about things.
Do you think that the pandemic grew you guys closer? Or do you think that you guys were always going to be close and it just happened that you guys are all going through this now together?
I think we've gotten a lot closer because some of those people in the group chat, I kind of knew their name. And then we had this group chat and we've gotten so much closer. Now we're really good friends. And it's brought us closer together now.
Good.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm talking to my friends, like, there's times like when we're not talking, like we haven't talked for hours, I'm just like thinking like, I'm like sad or something, but I'm afraid to reach out because I don't want to disturb them, because my friends are going through really tough times. My friends have lost family members, not from COVID, but like from other situations, and I sometimes feel like my problems are not as big as theirs. Yeah.
That's never the case, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one, right? It's a tough one, I think, that we balance, but your needs are, everybody's needs are important, right? And that's the reason that we want to have this conversation, because everybody goes through different things, and everybody interprets things differently, but it's always super important to put what we're going through in the forefront and not the back burner, because when we do that, that's when we're not taking care of ourselves. So this slide that I have here is the breathing tool again. So just a question: how do you think the breathing tool that we did in the beginning? I'm sure you guys have used that before. How does that relate? How do you feel? And if you don't feel that it relates, that's fine too. How would you feel that relates to everything that we talked about today?
I think it's like sometimes like a time just to do it like for something for yourself. Like, take away from everything you're doing during the day. Just focus on yourself and not like external forces.
Right. Brings you back to center and makes you not necessarily think about all the what ifs and the could be and what everybody else is going through, but it kind of centers you and keeps you back in the present moment. Stephanie, did you?
I agree. It definitely helps you to take a break from everything that's going on around you and to focus on yourself.
Yes, that's true, and it's a tool that we all have because we can always, no matter what, we're always in this present moment, right? So we can always bring ourselves back and remind ourselves to breathe, no matter how difficult the assignment is or what we have to do later in the day or who we have to talk to, right? It's always something that we can always turn to and calm ourselves down. Okay, so the teacher in me has some last final questions, okay? So talking about checking in with ourselves, breathing, thoughts versus emotions, all of our different areas of our health, in what ways can we check in with ourselves?
We can check in with ourselves by checking in with others, like how we said before, talking to other people in a really honest manner, not just the, oh, how are you? Good, really talking to people that you trust to really see how they're doing and see how you're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Also, family members, you could just talk to and express what you're feeling, and maybe they'll feel the same way as you and understand what you're going through. But yeah.
Great. How can we dive deeper into how we are feeling? How can we dive deeper into how we are feeling? For me, what I like to do with diving deeper is I always like to ask why. Why am I feeling this way? Why is the situation like this? Why? That's my question to dive deeper. Do you guys have any ways that you like to dive deeper into how you're feeling sometimes?
I think that one way is to tell yourself that it's okay, that it's normal to feel like this, because there's times I find myself not giving myself enough slack for everything that's happening, and I think that others can relate to that too, where they're upset about how they're feeling, but we're in a pandemic, so there's no rules anymore, So I think you have to really be honest with yourself that it's okay to feel the way you're feeling, however that may be, and then from then on, then you can really focus on how to fix it and then what to do next.
Right. The pressure that we put on ourselves is intense, right? What about you, Jules? How do you dive deeper into how you're feeling? Or what are ways that we can dive deeper into how we are feeling?
If there's something that's upset you, take yourself away from it. Reevaluate why you in the situation you are right now. What can happen? What can you do better so that you don't have to feel the bad things? Right.
Taking yourself out of the situation, kind of taking a step back from it is an important and big thing to do. How do all areas of wellness, emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual wellness, all coexist with each other?
I think physical, mental, and spiritual, and emotional wellness. If you stay inside all the time and you don't move as much, as you lose motivation, like she said earlier, and how you start thinking stuff that you shouldn't think, in the mental way, and in spiritual you lose the hope to do things, and you feel like you lost all motivation to do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Just how Juliana said, just like the graph shows, everything is connected. So once something goes wrong, it's going to affect something else, which then will affect a different part of your wellness. So they all go together, and you have to really attack all of them as a whole.
Right. Always check in, like you said, always making sure that you're feeling, if you're feeling one way, how is it going to affect the others? Always kind of looking at it and scrap that. Very good. So, guys, why is this conversation about wellness especially important to us now?
I think it is important because like we're social creatures, and many people are cut off from like support systems because of unable to like act, like to be with them physically, and like some people may feel alone right now because there's no one physically around them, but there's still people in their corner, like emotionally.
Sure, right? The lack of social interaction is, making us revisit this conversation very intensely right now. What do you think, Stephanie?
I think that, a pandemic is something that none of us have actually been through, and this is all new to everyone, and we're all going through it. So it's important for us to like come together as a society and check in on one another, because everyone reacts to things differently. Everyone handles situations differently. So it's important to work together to then get back to where we were.
Absolutely. Okay, so the last thing I want to leave you guys with is that you are not alone in this, right? A lot of people are feeling the effects of this, and we know that the students, you guys, are really feeling a lot of disappointment, like you explained before, a lot of things that you haven't been able to participate in this, and so we understand how you're feeling, and we want you to know that you guys are not alone in this, that you can reach out to, again, teachers, guidance counselors, coaches, anybody in this school community that you feel that you trust and that you feel that you can confide in. And I say that for anybody at home as well. The teachers, the guidance counselors, the coaches, we're all here for you. It doesn't matter if you're remote, if you're in person. We want to make sure that you guys are feeling good, are feeling safe during this time, and we always are reaching out with our support for you guys. So I really want to thank you for Jules and Stephanie for being part of this conversation that I feel like we all need to visit sometimes, because the most important thing is to take care of ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Stephanie Brown, our sports analyst, is back with a look at Pilot sports action.
I'm your sports analyst, Stephanie Brown, and this week our pilots were very busy. Let's take a look. First, the girls lacrosse team had their first game of the season against Cathedral and won 12-1. Amory Figueroa had 3 goals, Noel Sermeno had 2 goals, Paula Rosario had 2 goals, Genesis Alvarez had 2 goals, and Patricia McCarthy, Darlene Rodriguez, and Ruby Rodriguez had 1 goal each. Goalie Gia Perilla had 3 saves. The girls' next game will be on May 4th at home against Kennedy Catholic. Next, the baseball team played 10 innings against St. Raymond's last Monday. Mario Pesca, class of 2022, pitched 6 innings with 0 hits, 0 runs, and 10 strikeouts before stepping down. Brian Espinal took over for the next 4 innings with only 1 hit and 0 runs. The game had to be called at 0-0 on account of darkness. A reschedule to continue is still being worked on. On Saturday, the girls' soccer team had their senior game against Preston and won 5-0. Seniors Kalani Prince had 2 goals, and Grace Camerata had 1 goal. Freshmen Neve Mora and Kaylin Munoz had 1 goal each. Goalies Genesis Bello and myself had 3 saves each. The girls' last game will be on May 8th against Maria Regina at home. And finally, on Sunday, the football team took on Nazareth at home and won by a score of 40-28. You can catch all the action of our upcoming games by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Cardinal Spellman Bronx. I'm Stephanie Brown, your sports analyst. Fly high, pilots.
Thank you, Stephanie. We finished up today's show with Candyce Little and a look at the weather this week. I'm hoping for more of the warm weather we saw last week.
Well, this week is looking to be what's known as a mixed bag, as we'll have a little bit of sun and a little bit of rain on and off throughout the week. The clouds from yesterday will linger in the area today and bring us some more showers in the evening. But then tomorrow we'll have sun out for the day. And then it's a cloudy day, a sunny day, and a cloudy day again. The only team that may have some issues is the soccer team on Wednesday, as that looks like rain. The forecast for the week then is cloudy today with showers developing this afternoon. The high will be 68. Tuesday will be a nice day to get out and come to Spelman and play lacrosse, as the skies will be clear and sunny with a high of 79. Wednesday, the clouds are back and we've got a 60% chance of showers with a high of 68. Thursday, the sun is back, but the temperature will be a little lower with a high of 64. Friday, the temperature continues to drop as rain moves in again in the evening with a high of 58. Have a great week, pilots. Back to you, Kennedy and Carla.
Thank you, Candice. Well, that's it for another episode of Morning Flight. We'll be back on Monday with a new episode. There's only 2 more episodes to go for this season.
Until then, I'm Carla Joseph.
And I'm Kennedy Jones. Fly high, pilots.